Hello and welcome to another video. So today I'm off motocamping again because, well, I've not been out in a while now and I was getting the itch to just get out for the weekend. So I'm off to Tip Top Campsite, which is just on the outskirts of a village called Silsden, which is actually only a stone's throw away from Steeton, where I did my Mod 1 the previous month. So fairly familiar sort of area. An area I want to get a bit more familiar with because I'm hoping to sort of do my Mod 2 up there in a month or two's time. Now it's really quite gaily today, and it was the day before as well. Yesterday there were gusts of wind going well over 40 miles an hour. Today it's not as bad, it's in the 30s, but that's still pretty strong. So just going to Tesco's along the valley the other day, and I was getting quite blown around, and it's quite disconcerting. If you've never experienced sort of strong side winds and things on two wheels before, it will properly, because it leans the bike, right? You have to really lean against the wind, or it will change the direction that you're going in, which is not fun. And you find yourself kind of just almost sliding around sort of horizontally as you're trying to go forwards, and it's not a very nice feeling. And my usual sort of route up when I'm going towards North Yorkshire sort of way takes me up over Oxenhope Moor, which is obviously very high ground. It's very exposed ground, and I just think that would be suicide today. So I'm taking a much longer route that goes via Halifax, and then on the A629 up through Denholm, and then onwards towards Keighley. And then once I get to Keighley, I'm going to be taking the B road that runs parallel to the dual carriageway. Takes me to Steeton, and then it's a short jaunt further north, and then from Steeton up towards where this campsite is. So join me on the ride. The traffic lights seem to be on my side today, not getting held up too much, which is nice because there's quite a few junctions here going through Halifax. Oh, and then they're just going to cut in. Thank you. It seems to happen quite a lot down here. People get confused about which lane they're supposed to be in, and vehicles kind of sliding in. I think if you remember the video posted last where I was just nipping into B&Q, there was a number of vehicles that sort of found themselves in the wrong lane and just sort of cut in front of me. It's kind of a pain, but you just have to kind of expect it along here. To be fair, I've probably done the same as well. to wave at B&Q as I go past. I do love a bit of DIY, so going to the B&Q is always quite a fun day out for me. But I'm probably a bit sad that way. I've just been working on a little project which I've finished the other week in my lounge, where I've built myself a log store for my wood burner, which I'm quite proud of. A friend of mine took me down here in his car so I could buy some like big planks of planed pine that I could build it with. So I can fit a lot of stuff on the scooter, but sort of 1.2 meter sort of long bits of wood, not so much, or not safely anyway. So that's been fun. So yeah, I don't know. Is it a very typical blokey thing to be like into motorcycles and DIY? It probably is, but I don't care. That pink get-up that the pedestrian was wearing there, that was interesting. I wonder if that's a dare or something, to be wearing pink leggings and the pink hoodie like that. I mean, it was definitely a guy, or he looked male. So, okay, well, each their own. I'm not going to judge anyone's wardrobe choices. It's a free world. It's an interesting choice. glad to be finally out of that sodding long 20 zone, but I'm not very happy to be quite as high up as I am. I didn't realise this route was going to be going quite as high up on the hillside as this. Thankfully the wind at the moment is manageable, but yeah, ideally I was kind of, when I was looking at this on Apple Maps, it didn't look like the topography was quite as hilly as this, so oh well, never mind, committed now. Gosh, I mean, you can see the trees like whipping around, right? It's I'm not kidding when I say the gusts are strong. But this road is bouncing me around so much anyway, I don't think I'd even notice that much if a side wind pushed me, because I'm so busy sort of dodging deteriorated bits of the road surface. Now I'm really feeling the wind gusts here, and it's a bit of a strange road, right? It's a 50 miles an hour one, but there's houses, there's regular street lights, and there's not that many 50 repeaters, and there's a lot of speed cameras. And it's one of those roads where you've got to keep thinking, shit, have I missed a 30 somewhere? Have I missed a 30 transition? But thankfully I think it is all 50. Otherwise I'm probably going to get a letter in the post. Because it's a bit of a, I mean, it's a very wide road, so it's got no excuse not to be at least a 40 miles an hour one, but yeah. And thankfully there are a few every now and again where it's warning the speed cameras, it's saying, hey, it is a 50. But it is one of those roads that just makes you a little bit nervous, because it's like, well, it could be a 30. If the council really wanted to make some money, it could definitely be a 30. But yeah, I think I'm safe. Oh, how nice of the council to put a 100-yard cycle lane in there and a cycle stop box. I guess they had some leftover paint that they had no other use for. Now don't get me wrong, I have absolutely nothing against cycling infrastructure. I mean, I have a bike. I don't use it very much since getting Luna, in all honesty. But I just, when you get like these performative like little bits of cycle infrastructure where it's just like a little painted stripe on the edge of the road, half the time it's got cars and things parked in it, so it's kind of unusable. I just think it's a waste of time, and it often creates a more dangerous place for cyclists to be, because it puts them in a position where they're constantly having to pull out into the middle of the road to move past vehicles and such, which is just not good. Like, segregated cycle lanes is the way to go. Painted lines, waste of time. No, I'm not sure it really comes across in the video, but every time there's like a gap in the houses on the left, I'm getting such a blast of wind pushing me around. It's not nice. I can only imagine how much worse this would have been going up over Oxenhope Moor, but even this is a little bit hairy for my liking. Damn, this is a very twisty road. But man, am I glad to be off of that open hillside. I'm kind of hoping there's not going to be too much more high up at this point. clouds, it kind of looks like it's about to open up again. We're still fairly high up. Great. Just great. At least it's not raining. Knock on wood. The side wind is just absolutely relentless now. This is obviously a very open spot, and it's yeah, it's really pushing me around. So hopefully we'll be a bit lower down and back in a bit more of an urban setting sooner or later, where there's a bit more shelter. Until then, just endure this. At least the countryside's pretty. That's got that going for it. It'd just be nice if it wasn't trying to kill me. Council decided cyclists exist again, and the lights have changed so quickly I've had no choice but to stop in the box. What are you going to do, right? You are allowed to stop in a cycle box if the lights change like that. But yeah, why? It's a really weird place to just have like a couple of meters of like cycle path. What's the point? Same thing on the other side. And maybe this is a really popular route for cyclists, I have no idea, but I haven't seen any cyclists out today. Not the best weather for it, but you know, it's a Saturday, it's dry. hell of a lot of speed cameras on my route today. I guess then that's why the van up ahead of me is not doing much more than about 34, 35 miles an hour. Because this is a 40, despite all the houses and the street lights and everything. The more I drive, the more I realise there's just very little kind of sense to a lot of road speeds. It's just arbitrary. Like, a lot of 20s don't make sense. You can clearly see a lot of 40s have been reduced to 30 over the years, either because Apple Maps tells you it's a 40 when it's otherwise signposted, or where it just doesn't really make sense. Or you'll get like an area, like a little stretch where it'll just say, "Oh, national speed limit, brilliant," and then it'll immediately be slow, 30. And you're like, why? What was the point of that? So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I try to be a good boy. The speedo on Luna is quite optimistic. So if it says I'm doing like 35, I'm probably doing like 31 miles an hour or something like that. And I think it probably misreads more the higher you go. But I generally try and keep up with traffic. I figure if everyone's doing more or less the same speed, then that makes sense. I hate it when you see like someone doing, say 20 absolutely on the dot for what their speedo says, and then they've got a huge queue of traffic behind them, and they're probably doing like 18 miles an hour, like, by actual sort of GPS kind of speeds. It just creates unnecessary hold-ups, and people get pissed off, and me as a more vulnerable road user, I don't want to have a whole load of pissed off car drivers behind me then who are potentially going to do something that puts my life in danger. I would much rather be, 1 or 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, God forbid, than sort of annoying people and sort of potentially, spurring some road rage or some dangerous driving from someone else. I got a little bit confused about my lane here. It's like, should I be in the left lane, or is there like a left turn only or something? But it wasn't, so I had to kind of swing back. Thankfully the car driver behind was understanding. I gave them a little wave to apologise for suddenly changing lanes like that. been seeing lots of shorts on, I think, Instagram and YouTube of people getting fines for stopping in yellow boxes in towns where councils are using them as a little bit of a money maker. So I'm just being very conscious of where there's any yellow boxes and making sure I don't accidentally sort of get caught being forced to wait in one because my exit lane isn't clear, right? Not everyone around here, though, seems to be paying that much attention to yellow boxes and pedestrian crossings, so I'm going to stop here ahead of the pedestrian crossing. You can see there's a guy in a wheelchair coming up. There's a good chance that he might want to cross. And there's a vehicle there to my right just rolling quite happily into the middle of the crossing. And yep, it looks like this guy's going to want to cross the road now. So let's hope these vehicles get out of the way before the lights change, eh? There we go. I was safely away. But again, look off to my right there. There's a whole load of vehicles just waiting in a yellow box. What's going on with that? I might have said it before, but I don't like driving in town centres. Some are okay. I mean, Keighley's not too bad for the most part, right? There's just a lot of junctions and a lot of lights. You got a lot of stuff to sort of constantly sort of be aware of. You know, is the light changing? Is there a pedestrian stepping out? Is there a box junction or something? Is there a bus lane that you're not supposed to be in? There's just a lot to think about. Give me a little stupidly narrow, windy, very steep country lane any day of the week. See lots of signs up here warning about chippings, but I think it said back on the sign there that they're not due to start work until the 16th of June, and I'm recording this on the 13th, so I've just missed it, so that is good. Right, so I think finally approaching the outskirts of Keighley now. It'll be really nice to get out of the town, do a little bit more country road riding. welcome to Silsden. So that's another stop on the route, or another place on the route anyway. I'm not planning to stop here. It does also mean that we're not too far off now, although it does mean a little bit more slow 30-mile-an-hour roads, but never mind. At least we're a little bit more into the countryside, so there's a few views here and there. And the wind isn't quite so bad now as well as it was earlier in the journey, which is something I'm quite thankful for. Say I don't like these kind of traffic light controlled junctions where it's still a little bit of a free-for-all. I like it when there's a traffic light, when it's green for you, it's red for everybody else. But you can see here, it's like it's clearly green in both directions, so if people are turning, you're going to potentially have to pause in the middle of the crossroads, which is not great. At least there's not a yellow box in the middle, I suppose. So just passing here on the left of the road, I went down to go to the Silsden DVSA training place where I got my Mod 1 pass. Happy memories. There's certainly happy memories on the way back, knowing that I'd got my certificate with me. That was good. I've not really thought any further about booking my Mod 2 yet. That's something I'm going to put off till probably August or thereabouts, just because I've got a few trips kind of planned for July, so I don't know. I think August is probably going to be easier logistically, but it would be good to get it. I'd love to be able to get the L plates off the bike, and I've spent, as I've said before, far too much time like researching all the different sort of maxi scoots and stuff for when I eventually do my upgrade. So it is something I definitely want to get done this summer if I possibly can. So it's taking a little bit of time to get onto this roundabout. I just need to go straight across basically, but this is on the dual carriageway that's kind of acting as a bypass for Silsden and all those sort of other villages. So at some point when I get my big scooter, I can happily do 70 miles an hour. I'll be doing that as well, but for the time being, taking the slow B roads. But the good news is we're basically here now, so I believe the campsite is on the right, just a little bit on beyond where this river is. So I'm keeping my eye out for it. This is quite a busy, fast road here, so it's not going to be tons of fun doing a right-hand turn here. And that's my entrance. And now it's just a case of waiting for a break in the traffic. And what you can't see because of my phone there is another car is just emerging as well, which is not great timing. Thankfully the road's just about wide enough that people can pass me safely, but still, I want to get off this road. And there we go, onto the track. So let's see where this takes us. I'm assuming it's right here. The signs would be nice. In fact, I think there was a sign back there, but it was very small. Aha. Right. I think this is it. So I will leave things there. So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it's one of my longest videos to date that I've posted. But yeah, thanks for sticking with it. Until next time,